The times have changed, my friends. People want to know what they're getting themselves into before they commit to anything, and that is exactly why you should give away valuable content, because people are going to come back wanting more. That's just the way it works now. Podcast Growth Nation, today for episode number 165, why you should give your best stuff away. I was talking to somebody recently, I think it was on a podcast breakthrough session, and they said, yeah, I was working with a business coach, and they told me that I can only give a little bit on the podcast. I can't give too much value. I can't talk about my coaching program. I can't talk about how I really help people. I don't want to solve people's problems on the podcast. I want them to come to me for that. Respectfully, I disagree, because we now live in a place where people want to test drive things before they commit. Almost every app you can download for free before you have to pay for it. You get a 7-day trial, a 14-day trial, a 30-day trial, whatever it is, right? That's just kind of the way it works. That's big. And there's so much free, valuable content out there. But here's the thing that I think a lot of people are missing. The reason giving free, valuable content away works is because some people are just going to pay you because they need help putting it into practice. So there's always going to be somebody who listens and says, okay, cool, I want someone to help me with that anyway. I love what you do. I love the fact that you help me solve my problem. If I'm going to work with someone, it's going to be you. I'd rather just pay you to help me. Now, not everybody's going to do that, but it's really hard to get to the place where you're giving away like a filtered amount of value, and then people jump through hoops to say, oh my goodness, I imagine you have so much more value behind the scenes. It doesn't really work like that anymore. So if we think of the podcast as what it really is, a problem solver, I'm not saying you have to give everything away and say, well, you don't even need to work with me. Just listen to this podcast and it'll help you with everything. I'm not saying we have to go to that level. But I think a lot of people are on the other end of, I'm not going to give too much value. I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and they said I've been doing this for a few years now. I'm not giving anything away for free. I'm not going to do free consults. I'm not going to do anything. And with all the love and all due respect, you're going to lose. You're going to lose because you don't have the credibility to act that way yet. It doesn't work that way. You can't just say, well, I'm not going to do anything for free. I'm not going to give away any free value. If you want any value from me, you got to pay me. There's not enough people out there that are going to pay you for that. So this is my thought process. My thought process is we live in a place today where people are checking you out to see if you can help them solve your problems. If you can help them solve their problems. When they land on your social media, they're going to go through it and say, okay, this person understands what I'm going through. This person can help me. Cool. This content solved this problem. This content solved this problem. And eventually, if and when they get to a place where they want to work with somebody, it will probably end up being you. 99.9% of you listening to this or watching this will never work with me. But if you do resonate with what I say and it does help you in some way, if you're going to pick someone, maybe it'll be me. The likelihood is higher if I add value in this podcast. But if it's always, all right, today we're going to talk about 3 ways that you can do this, but honestly, there's 2 ways that are better, but you got to pay me for them. It just seems scarce. And it just seems like you're gatekeeping valuable content, and I don't think it's going to work. I think that's an old school mentality. So if you have somebody in your life saying, hey, look, don't give away any of your valuable content. You don't want anybody to know what you do because other people might steal it and blah, blah, blah. There's always going to be a subset of humans who can do it without you. Always, 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 always. What is one of the best ways to get clients as a personal trainer? 1, to be in good shape. 2, to give away really good workouts. Because here's what's going to happen. Some of those people that follow you, we'll do this. Let's say you have a fitness podcast instead of a social media channel. You have a fitness podcast and you're a personal trainer. Okay. Give away all sorts of valuable content. Give it away, give it away, give it away, give it away, give it away. A subset of your audience is never going to work with you anyway. So it doesn't matter that you're giving away the information to them. And there always will be a subset of your audience that needs help with accountability. They need help with necessity, and they need help with taking something and putting it into practice. They need help implementing. I could do an entire episode on how to audio edit. I could teach you how to video edit. I could teach you how to do all that stuff. There's always going to be people out there that are just going to pay us to implement it for them. There's always going to be a need for that. But it has to do with the content that you're putting out. So I think a lot of people are wondering why they're not getting more perception and why they're not being more of a thought leader in their space and why they're not being given credit for their expertise, because you're not showing your expertise. You're hoping people are going to be willing to jump behind the curtain to figure out what it is that you do, when in reality, you got to show them. You got to show them. We live in a very value-driven economy in terms of creators. It's just, again, so if we go back to the conversion episode we did, your podcast is where you're going to help the most people in terms of masses, unless you blow up on social media. I mean, that can happen too, but let's just say the podcast is, for this sake, that's the place it's going to happen. And some people are going to go to the next level, and some people are going to go to the next level, and they're going to keep going down, 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 down in the business. But they have to know that you can help them solve their problems. So I'm convinced. A good example of this is I'm always trying to do episodes that you will be able to take something away from, and you don't need me. You don't need me for this, right? There's nothing, you don't need me. Hopefully it solves a problem at a specific time for you, and now you have a different strategy based on it if it's aligned. I don't want to have any scarcity around what I teach, because that just doesn't, it's a short-term win for a long-term loss. If you want to be an expert on something, your expertise has to be shown, especially now. This is how prevalent this is. There are people on social media that have hundreds of thousands or millions of followers who don't know what they're talking about, but people think they do because they have hundreds of thousands or millions of followers. That literally suggests that the social proof aspect of it is large following must know what they're doing. I think that is kind of a representation of what we're talking about here today. Do they give away their best content? Honestly, to a degree, even though the content's not true necessarily. But I think fitness is a really good way to think about this. If you think of really successful fitness influencers, oftentimes they have their diet and they have their workouts and they have their sets and they have their reps. They have them in their social media posts. And what people pay for is implementation. Hey, I need help with a custom diet. What I'm doing is not working. I need someone to be there to guide me. I need someone to give me a gentle kick in the butt when I'm off the beaten path. Boom. Or, I love what you post. I want to join your community because I want to be around other people like me. Implementation and or community. They give away a lot of really good stuff. I think that's the way to do it. Yeah, the way to do it is help people solve their problems at level 1. The people who want their problem solved at level 5 naturally will want to do it with you if you're consistently solving their problems. And it's always going to be a percentage anyway. There is always going to be a percentage of people that just are not interested in working directly with you or engaging directly with your product or service or whatever it is. I think the likelihood of you getting more people to work with you is directly connected to how much value you add to them for free.
Hey Kevin, Kim here. Just wanted to send you a video to say thank you so much for your help on creating the Peaceful Productivity Podcast. You know, I couldn't have done it without you. I knew you'd be lots of great help with the technical aspects of getting the podcast going, but you went well above and beyond that. You helped me with the strategy and you gave me all kinds of really great support. You know, I think the key to success in business is a great attitude, and you have that in spades. You really walk the walk. So thanks again. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.
That is my thesis. I think we're moving beyond the whole, well, make sure you have a 7-point email sequence and blah, 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 blah. most of us are personal brands. We are people on podcasts that are solving a specific problem for a specific person in a specific way. And that starts with solving the problem. And I don't know, the old Costco thought process. You go to Costco, they have a little free sample. You have the free sample, you enjoy it, and you say, interesting, okay. Yeah, I'd like to take this home and have it for dinner tonight. I'm going to get 2 boxes. Great. That's exactly what I'm talking about today. Beautiful thing is, it doesn't cost you anything to give away high quality content, assuming you're already capable of doing it. That's one. Second thing is, it helps position you as the expert. That's another big piece. That's another big piece of it, especially from like a search engine optimization, ChatGPT, AI optimization. If you have 500 episodes about fitness, and that's what your podcast is about, and you've given away a lot of value, the algorithms are going to pick that up. And when people search, you might come up. But I don't think that's going to happen if you just hold on to your stuff. I don't think it's going to happen. Now, are there unique cases where maybe you should? We have some clients that are very niched in very specific things, and they have intellectual property that they don't want to get stolen. But I mean, they still give away so much value, so much, way more than the average podcast doing what they do. So even by that example, they're still ahead of the curve. I think it's an old model, and I think it's in scarcity. I think it's based on scarcity, and I think it's based on there's not enough to go around, and people work with people that they know. They work with people that they like. They work with people that they trust. They work with people that they feel are in it for the right reasons. When I say they feel like they know you, it's more of a safety thing. They know you, they like you, they trust you. You feel safe to them. One of the ways to feel safe is to reaffirm through adding value. That's really all it is. You order from the same place all the time because you've ordered from there before and the food's always been good. You don't order from the place you used to order from anymore because this food is better and you had a bad experience. Same thing. That's them adding value. Now, I know it's not apples to apples, but that's really my thought in today's episode. I wanted to do this because I've worked with a lot of people who they think eventually people will just know, and they'll reach out and say, "Hey, I want to hear the secret sauce." I don't think that's really going to work as well as people are telling you. Based on my experience, based on working with hundreds of podcasters, it just doesn't really work that way. You want to be known for something. The best way to be known for something is to add value on that something. And then behind the scenes, you'll be able to add more value to someone anyway because it's more specific and it's more catered and you can get more input. That's what we'll end with today's episode. I could do the same exact. So this episode, if you reached out to me and said, "Hey, how would you be able to do this episode? How would you make it valuable for me one-on-one?" We can talk about what your message is. I can talk to you about your audience. I can talk to you about how do you help people behind the scenes. It's way more valuable to work one-on-one on this episode than it is to do this episode for everybody. So even by that definition, I could give away everything I have, but there's still going to be missing pieces for you. Even if I try my best to give all the pieces away, you couldn't possibly, because there are unique circumstances. And that's where one-on-one or whatever, 1 to 10 group style stuff comes in. You can give all the knowledge. I can give all the awareness. There will always be a subset of people who want to help or want help with implementation. It just is that way. And there's nothing wrong with that. But they're not going to want help with implementation if they don't know I can help them implement. And I think that's a really big piece of it. So yes, you can show off. What's a good example? Like, what's a really good example of this? It's maybe not the best example, but somebody reaches out and they DM me and they say, "Hey, we can help you grow your social media." And then I go look at their social media and it's them, and they have 21 posts all the time, and they have one of their car, one of them on a boat, one of them with a watch, one of them with a beautiful woman, one of them in the forest and then one in like a really nice house. And they have a bunch of followers and they have a bunch of fake comments and fake likes. Why would I think you know how to grow social media when there's no content about you growing social media? I want you to teach me how you did it. I'm not going to fall for you just did it. I want to know how you did it. That's the way I think, at least. That's the way I think. The reason nobody reaches out to me for home building is because I don't have any home building content. But people reach out about podcasting. People reach out about relationships. People reach out about fitness because I post those things. I get questions about cats sometimes because I post about my cats. That is a suggestion of the type of content that you promote and post is going to dictate the type of attention that you get. I think the level of seriousness and the level of merit you get is going to be based on the level of problem that you solve. So if you're really good at solving problems, solve problems. This is a good example. There's for some reason I follow this home inspector on Instagram. It's very intriguing content. But he'll literally go to a home that he's inspecting and he'll tell you everything that's wrong with it. He is showing you how much he knows. And by showing you how much he knows, if you're going to want to work with somebody, it's going to want to be him because he's showing you what everybody else is missing. He's not holding back on, well, I can't show people this because then they'll know what to look for. Some people will, yes. And other people will say, no, this guy is so good, I need help implementing. And that's the same for you. That's the same for you. The vast majority of you will never hire a podcast coach. You'll never work with a production company. It just statistically is the way it works. Some of you will eventually. And some of you will eventually maybe with us because I helped you at some point. Hopefully. That's the goal. So that's the takeaway today. It's scarce. It's from a place of scarcity to say, well, I got to hold on to my best stuff because I got to save stuff for behind the scenes. So the stuff for behind the scenes is more specific anyway. It really is. Right? It really is far more specific. I could do a coaching call in every single one of these episodes, and it's going to be more powerful and more valuable because there's more specifics. You can only get so specific to a group of people. You can be way more specific to one person. So that's a piece of it. And again, this goes for everything. It's not just one-on-one coaching. Well, I can't give that away on the podcast because then I can't have that in my course. Of course you can. Of course you can. You just have to find a way to make it more valuable behind the scenes in the course. And you can do that. You can do that because it's going to be a more specific person who you know is signing up. So there's a lot of levels to this. But simplest takeaway, I would not hide your good stuff. I would not hide your best stuff. I wouldn't put it necessarily behind a paywall. I think you should give it away. And that'll help brand you as that person. And in the long run, that's how, from my perspective, you build a business. That's from my perspective. Again, there's a lot of different ways to do it. So that is my takeaway for today's episode. All right. If you need help with this, if you don't know what your best stuff is, all of that happy jazz, I'll have my link in the show notes for a free 30-minute podcast breakthrough session as I do every single week because we can be way more specific behind the scenes about what it is that you're going through. If you're looking for a group of podcasters who are focused on leveling up, we have a podcast Facebook group. It's called Podcast Growth Nation. We'll have the link in the show notes for that as well. I hope you're giving away some good stuff. I hope you're giving away value. I hope you're trying to help your audience at a very, very, very deep level because I think at the end of the day, the person who adds value the most wins eventually. I'm convinced of that. So that is what I hope for you. All right. As always, keep on crushing it. Keep on podcasting. Do not quit. It might be hard right now, but do not quit. As long as you think it'll be worth it, you got to keep going. And I'll talk to you all next week.